better. I could not wait to get my friend who is clearly one of my wife's favorite people. I tell people this all the time, 10 plus years in the NFL. Barrett Brook is in the Big Sills Hall of Fame. We bring him in here right now with us, NBC Philadelphia. My brother, how are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Let me ask you something.
All right.
Concerned.
Am I concerned? No. The ultimate job, like you just said, is to win games. And this team is adapting to what they have going on, and I think if you're talking about, all right, is it Jalen Hurts? Is that the reason why things are so slow? Well, this isn't like college football where you have to win on style points. This is the NFL where, a win is a win, a W is a W. And that's their ultimate goal. I mean, you have quarterbacks that go out there, that can throw up big numbers, 300 yards here, 400 yards here, and have over 5,000 yards. But what's their win total? What's their record? Look at Phillip Rivers. He could throw the ball a country mile. He averaged like 5,000 yards his last 4 or 5 seasons in the league. But what was his winning percentage? What was his record? The Eagles are intent on winning, and if it takes them going out there and waiting until let me say this to you, and waiting until this offensive line gets their stuff together, then they'll do that. It's not just Jalen Hurts. It's the offensive line not playing up to their capabilities. Yes, he's holding the ball a little too long because I think he's getting a little gun shy for being, harassed a little bit in that first game. But he'll settle down just like the offensive line has settled down. And, they went and ran the ball. It's not the vogue thing to do, but it's the winning thing to do. That's the most important. Big Sills, if you're out there and you playing 3 technique and they're letting you jump the gap and you're jumping the gap and they're still double teaming you and you can't stop the run and you start doing something else and getting out of character for what you're supposed to be doing in your gap and you're still allowing them to run the ball, that's the worst feeling in the world, isn't it? Because you can't stop them from doing what they're doing. Isn't that the worst?
I'd rather have you throw for 390 yards on me than run for 250 yards on me because, hey, I tell people this all the time, Barrett. You put the white flag up when you're running the ball 200 yards on me because you rarely lose games. How many times have we seen teams throw for 500 yards and lose, but yet when you see a team run for 200 yards,
absolutely,
you ain't losing that ball game.
No. Because number one, you keep that quarterback on the opposing side off the field. Because usually when you run like that, the time of possession is probably like, 40 minutes to 20 minutes. You just overwhelm it and they can't get their guys on the field to score. Now, if you're driving it down and you're not scoring points, I can see you being frustrated about that. But they were driving down, they were scoring, whether it be a field goal, whether they get a touchdown. They were going out there and pushing it to the victory of beating the Vikings.
Let me throw this at you here, and Bear, tell me I'm making more of it. Okay, so in the game again, you and I know, man, bitching at each other on the sidelines. It's a nothing burger. You have AJ and him complaining. Today, I heard Dallas Goedert on WIP say this, and I'm paraphrasing it. He's like, "I'm not happy with my role in the passing game." So now you got 2 people complaining about role in the passing game. It's AJ complaining on the sidelines. You saw it. You heard Goddard today on IP saying, and then he fuzzied it up going, hey, I'm in the run game. I'm dominating this. It was a nice way to make sure you're not throwing shade too much on the OC and the quarterback. But what's different this year, Barrett, than last year? You almost got the same personnel. Sanders, is he that much of a loss? What's different in your eyes on what you're seeing?
I think that, the league had 8 months or 6 months to go in and figure out how to stop Jalen Hurts. But we also understand that Jalen's going to go out and he's going to work his way into something new. He's going to evolve. He's never stayed the same. I think he's one of those guys that it feels if he stays the same, then he's almost dying. He's always going to reinvent himself. He's always going to be a better version of himself every time he steps on the field. And, you'll get that. And everybody's talking about, how they're stopping the read option right now. Yeah, they're stopping the read option. All they're doing is slanting the end and scraping the linebacker outside. But then, same thing to make you laugh, make you cry, because those lead to big plays. because once you vacate somewhere with scraping that linebacker, and Jordan Mailata or Lane Johnson cuts that in from slanting in, that's a big hole to open up that you're asking a safety to stop. So all those things, all those things that they're doing right now is something that, eventually the Eagles will also counter their counter. Just like now teams are starting to back up and play two high safeties. Well, what do you do when two high safeties? You run the ball.
And run it.
So that's exactly what they did. You line up a two high safety, they ran the ball. Then they turn around on the big play to Smitty at the end of the game, towards the second half. What happened is they had two high safeties. They were playing quarters coverage, and the safety, Smith, got a little nosy and saw that running back because the running back had been running so much on him. Got a little nosy, saw that running back flare out of the outside on the wheel route and didn't get back. And that left that cornerback one-on-one with Smitty on the outside, turned into a big play, a touchdown. Those are all things that happen, and you get big plays from, defenses that blitz a lot and defenses that, play two high safeties a lot. So, eventually the Eagles will start catching up on what defenses are going to do. And then what do you do then? You know what I'm saying? So they're built to play big-time football in November. Run the ball consistently, and they can't stop. You have a big offensive line. Then you got a quarterback and go out there and run. You got these quarterbacks now. Everybody's raving about these top 5 quarterbacks. Look what's going up in LA with the Chargers. Look at their quarterback. Look at Cincinnati's quarterback. These are top 5 quarterbacks. Everybody's saying they're the best quarterbacks in the league. They have nothing else to go through if they can't throw the ball and they're not, executing the offense by them passing the ball. Jalen is different. Jalen can use his legs and run the ball, which will make you get out of what you're doing, and then they'll go out there and throw the ball also. He has that intangible that those two don't have. Does that make him elite? I think it makes him pretty damn close, because you can be elite passer and not win, a la the Chargers in Cincinnati. But if you can also have that extra in being able to run the ball and be able to execute at a high level of run, you can be a guy that can run out there and do those type of things. But if you're not elite as far as your programming on understanding when to run and not to run, it can also be a detriment for you also. But I think he's good enough that he'll get things going in the right direction because of it.
Barrett, I think the other thing that you're seeing coordinators like Brian Flores and what you saw Belichick and this week too, Todd Bowles, is that counter weak side play that they run with Jalen. All of a sudden he'll go through the back door over here, and they're getting as deep as the ball. Last year, they would scrape down the line of scrimmage, and Jalen would get out wide, and he'd get out on the weak side and break that thing open. I think a lot of teams are now countering that play now by keeping that end home.
Yes, you're right.
And not having them. Because last year, how many times did we see that guy, as soon as they would run with that RPO this way, Jalen took it, went back door over here, and that end's gone, not setting the edge. I think teams are doing a better job on that because, like you said, they had 7 months to sit there and game plan it.
Yep.
That leads to this question, though. Again, it was an observation, and I saw it again in the Viking game. You tell me. I think they're so concerned about him taking punishment that was it me in that New England game and then a little bit in the Viking game, he's getting down quicker.
Way too quick.
And he's like apprehensive. And to me, that's a coach. I don't think that that's Jalen actually doing it. I think that's a fundamental thinking process where last year he'd run that guy. He wouldn't get a clean hit on him. He'd be fighting for the extra yard. It just seems now he's looking for perseverance and getting through the 17 games. Is it just my observation? Because I think that's what's making that offense look a little tentative.
You're talking about an extra 5 yards that he's not taking.
But mentally, too. Mentally,
yes.
Like, hey, do I throw it? I mean, the whole thing becomes tentative.
Right. It's almost as though, all right, if I go ahead and pull the trigger on this pass, it might get intercepted. Instead of being a guy that, that's going to, all right, if I keep running, I'm going to get hit, Those are all situational things that have been coached into him that maybe he needs to go back to saying, all right, I can protect myself. I've done a good job of protecting myself. On the plays he got hurt with in Chicago, it was a running play.
Yeah.
So you're not going to really slide when it's a running play. But even in passing plays where he's running and evading the pass rush, he's sliding like 5 feet before he usually does. And I did see that, and I didn't comment on it because all right, he's trying to make sure there's self-preservation. He's trying to make sure he doesn't get hurt. But that is an aspect of his game that's an intangible that he used to use, and it was so tough to stop him from picking up first downs. Now he's sliding before even the first down. So it's been coached into him. But I think once he evolves and starts playing the way a player plays that went through camp and practice and played during camp, he's not playing like a guy that had those reps in preseason football games. He's playing like a guy that's still in the preseason. And I think this entire offense they're not up to par. You're going to see at least one more bad, not really bad because they won the game, but one more rusty game from them.
Or maybe a bad half or a rusty half.
Exactly. So, bro, could you imagine going out there and playing on the first game without having reps and full speed reps?
Absolutely not.
How do you take on a double team and know where the pressure's coming from? I tell people all the time the reason I played in the preseason is because your body learns how to take that one extra step to solidify that block. These guys then take that extra step.
You're practicing your anchoring. Yes. Double teams. You're practicing your double. Exactly. You're getting your joints and your ankles ready and your
hardening them
ready with
all that.
You
start to harden them up. Yes.
Yeah.
That's why all these injuries they have. I mean, how do you have 3 rib injuries? That's because their bodies aren't hardened. You harden your body during camp, during the preseason. That's how your body does. These guys aren't taking that extra step to come out of a route, that extra step for making a tackle and assuring you can get the guy on the ground. Because when I say extra, I mean extra steps. Like really, like when you're double teaming, you get up to the second level, you're leaving too early because you didn't get the extra step because during camp, all you've done is 1-2 cha-cha-cha, 1-2 cha-cha-cha. You're just hitting the guy. All right, you got me. You blocked me. These guys aren't going to be blocked in these games. They're going to keep going, and you haven't taken that extra step to keep going and finishing the block. That comes with playing, man, and they'll eventually get with it. So you get at least, like you said, a half or a game in which to get it going.
Hey, is it me, Barrett? But is Hurts getting hit more?
Yes, he is. The offensive line. That's what I said. The offensive line got to play better. I
mean, they're great in the run game. They're great in it, but Malata was terrible in that New England game. Better against the Vikings, obviously.
Yep.
Lane missed an assignment in the New England game, blocked down when he was supposed to block out.
Yep.
I'm like, man, it just seems like the communication with the guys. I mean, I can't think it's Isaac Seumalo not being in there, but again, what's with them? Here's an experienced group. Barrett, is this really what you just talked about? Is just playing with the continuity?
Yes, it's playing. They're rusty. They're rusty, and they're just now starting to get that rust off. And playing. And they haven't hit Philadelphia Eagles football yet, and they're still 2-0. There's a lot of 1-1 teams that didn't have that opportunity to still win the game, even though they played bad. And to them, they're playing bad because it's not up to the standards we're used to seeing them at. You know what I'm saying? Are they unjustly, looked upon as saying in a bad game? Yes, they are, because our expectations are up here. They're not down here. You put yourself in the position that we have expectations now. So you're going to get it. You're going to get us talking, about you and saying this and saying that. But, it comes with the territory. You know what I'm saying? Great teams get, they're meticulous in making sure they break down every aspect of your game. You know what I'm saying? They're always trying to find a kink in your armor. And that just comes with being the best. That comes with being on top. You know what I'm saying? And they're rolling with it. They're winning even though, in spite of, they're still winning.
And what's crazy is that you and I know what them coaches are saying in there.
Yep.
Nobody gives a shit about 2-0. Like, Kelsey's going, I got Vita Vea this week. I don't give a crap about anything.
Right.
I got Vita Vea in front of me here. 2 last questions for you.
I got to get up on White. I got to get up on White. You know what I'm saying?
you know what's funny, Barrett? I told all these folks, I go like this. I go, do you know most of the players in the locker room could have once you get into the season, you have no idea what the opposing team's record is. You have no idea what your record is.
Nope.
You're just worried about your responsibility and the guy that you got to play on you. And if someone tells you that, that's probably the least caring thing you care about, because you got to put some good game tape out there. 2 last questions for you here. Are you concerned that the pass defense is 31st right now?
Yes, especially with the injuries that are happening right now. I mean, Avonte, people don't understand how key Avonte Maddox is in the whole scheme of things, of how they run things. You don't have that good slot corner. You know, your boys, the Bucks right now got, Godson right now, he's hell out there, bro. So you're gonna have to go one-on-one with the big fella on Evans on the outside. You got guys out there, but who do you put in there? I mean, how do you fill that slot corner position? Because it's one of the hardest positions, because there's not a lot of space, but there's, you got double, you can do inside and outside. On the outside, at least you can use the sideline as an extra defender. You don't have that inside of the slot. And usually they put their best player in that. And then you have to worry about supporting the run. And then you got to worry about motion and all this. I mean, there's a lot of responsibility with that. And at this point, Mario Goodrich is the guy that they're going to use. But do I say him being a guy, that is going to lock that down until, will lock down for the rest of the season? I can't. Who do I think they need to go ahead and try a little bit, at least in practice? I think they do Sidney Brown in there. Let him try, his best, or bring Bradbury in and push Josh Jobe out on the outside. He played fairly well out there at that wide corner position. They're going to have to figure something out, man. Or maybe they bring back Gritty Williams. I don't know. But this is a tough situation for him. At least they'll have Blankenship back and Bradbury back, But it's still, I was just looking at it. It's one player that's out, and that's Maddox. But it feels like it's like 3 players that we're trying to take his place.
Because the backers are not helping. They're not helping. They're not helping the safeties right now. And I'll tell you this, Barrett. I think the loss of TJ Edwards is being felt on that defense. And
it absolutely is.
You said this 2 years ago, and I remember you're like, man, when they plugged that dude in, that entire defense changed.
It changed on how to do it. Yep.
It's changed.
Yep. I mean, you know how it is, man. To not have a guy back there. Michael, just like I play with Michael Barrow. Your guy. You know what I'm saying? One of the smartest guys at putting guys in position. And because I can remember a lot of times we were playing out there, and they come to the sideline when I was playing with the Giants, and he go, "Hey, Strahan, I appreciate you telling me this." You know what I'm saying? That's why I gave you a go caller going out there. Hey, banjo. Well, you don't have that type of that communication. And the Eagles don't have it right now because there's so many guys that were out. That communication, man, it's hard to play the game when you're not communicating at a high level. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like those unwrittens. You got to look and see, all right, I can look at you and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Those things aren't being done right now. So that's why it's a lot of plays that you see, it's almost like they look rusty because of that.
Okay, last year, Barrett, don't kill me on this. But I heard Vermeil say something today, and I know it's going to be blasphemy. He compared Jalen Carter to Reggie White. Now, wait a minute. Hang on. Hold on. Reggie's first 4 years in the NFL, he had 70 sacks, which is insane. Right? I mean, like Brandon Graham's been in the league 14 years, and he's got 70. I get it, okay? But then I started thinking about it. Well, he was 24 when he got into the league. This kid's 21, and Reggie went to the USFL in 84 and 85. Right. In his first year, he had 12 and then 11 and a half. So he was almost like, and the USFL back then had guys like Ken Hall. They had really good players that went on to play in the NFL. He was almost primed, and he was almost like schooled once he got into the NFL on what to expect. I think he was better prepared to be an NFL player because of playing in the USFL versus playing at Georgia. And I started thinking this, I see it, man. I think he has a chance to be a better defensive tackle than Aaron Donald. And I'll tell you why. Donald doesn't play the run. Yep. This guy's a run stopper and a pass rusher and a guy who wreaks havoc. He's more kind of like in the line of Jerome and that kind of guy. I mean, it's it's crazy because Reggie's the ultimate.
You mean Mr. White? I call him Mr. White. I can't call him Reggie. I call him Mr. White still.
I know you. You know. Again, you can flip a coin and go, "Who do you want, LT or Reggie?" And I'll go, "I'll take whoever you don't."
Right.
You know what I mean? I'll take whoever you don't. But give me your sense of what you're seeing with this kid and how impressed you've been with him.
An unbelievable, I would say athlete, but that's kind of downplaying what he is. He is such a good player as far as understanding how to play the situational football he's being put in. You can't, on the run plays, you can't double team him because he understands where the pressures comes in, and he might lean to that pressure and spin out and go make a play. If you try to one-on-one block him, he's not going to let you do that. He can run behind blocks and still quick enough and explosive enough to go get it. And I'm just talking about the run plays now. Then on passing plays, they ran a blitz and on his first sack. And when they ran the blitz, they brought the mic through the B gap, and he goes and he slants in. And when he hits his gap, they double team him with the center and the guard. But he's so versatile that he makes himself small, hits the center, and then drives him back and puts him in the quarterback's lap, and then goes and gets the sack with the center on his back. That's him understanding leverage and understanding where he needs to go. This kid is he's an amazing player. And I understood, I equated him to a John Randall, almost like a Warren Sapp hybrid,
but
of a
bigger.
Player. Yes, what I'm saying, but bigger. Yeah, you add them two together. Yes, he's a big dude too. So we're talking about 313.
Yeah.
People understand Sapp was sitting right around about that 290, 280
at
range.
6'2", though. This guy's
Right.
6'4", like and a half.
Yeah, I mean, huge. So he can run, he can be explosive, he can brush the passer, he can get down on the run, he can drive you back. I can't think of any weaknesses in his game right now.
Absolutely. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this on the way out the door here. What's your take on what Deion's doing in Colorado?
Unbelievable, man. And he's making a believer out of people. Just because he's doing it the way he's doing it does not make it wrong. He is a guy that
no, he's scaring the establishment, Barrett.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Usually, coaches are supposed to be these guys, and be looked upon as, I am a pillar of what you're supposed to be in society. Well, he's breaking the norm on what society thinks of a coach. You know what I'm saying? Some guys think of coaches as father figures and, holier than thou. Well, he's holier than thou, but he does it with swag. You know what I'm saying? So I love what he's doing, and his guys play for him. That's all I care about. Your guys play for you. That's all I worry about. They will go out there and fight a brick wall for Deion. And that's all that needs to be said, man. That's all it needs to be said.
And what's crazy, Barrett, is that people are like, well, he's made it all about him. I go, well, obviously you've never played competitive sports, because for you to motivate 100 guys to go out there and play their ass off each and every single Saturday for you, coaches who make it about themselves have losing records. Coaches who never fail make it about the players. He's bringing everyone on that. You know what it really reminds me of? It reminds me of my heyday back in the Miami days with FSU in Miami, when all those guys were walking around like that. We just didn't have social media, and everybody looked at our giant targets on us and said all these things. And I'm like, hey, man, this guy's been doing this since he was 17 years old. He's changing the way people look at coaching, man. I mean,
you guys never.
Hey, if you're Auburn right now, Barrett, aren't you going like this? Man, Freeze versus him? I don't, you know what I mean? I mean, really, you're going to hire him?
Dan, you guys, Miami never kept their helmets on. They would score and helmets go straight off. So come on, man. Everybody knew who you guys look like, because you guys, as soon as you do something, flip the helmet off. You know what I'm saying? They made rules because of you guys, man.
That was for the girls, man. We wanted to make sure when we walked into your place, man, that we won games and dated your girls. Barrett, hey, man, tell folks again where they can find you each and every single day. By the way, I know we don't communicate as much. You're in my heart always, you and your mom.
Hey, man, you and your wife, man. I appreciate you guys.
Hey,
tell your daughter good luck also. Appreciate it, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Damn right, man. NBC
Sports Philadelphia. I do Eagles pre- and post-game show, and I also do college football on the weekends, man.
Love you, dude. Thank you so much for finding time for me, brother.
Oh, anytime, bro. Anytime, man. Anytime, man. Have a great show, bro.
You got it, man. Barrett Brooks, our good friend, man. I love this man. So good, too. So good. So good. And we do. My wife loves the guy. She's like, guy played 10 plus years? I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, he's a Hall of Famer then, in her eyes. Hey, by the way, speaking of Hall of Fame places, Hooters, the official home of the National Football Show. Folks, do me a favor, man. Go on to northeasthooters.com and find that location nearest you so you can enjoy this football season. That is our official home. King of Prussia, we're going to be there in a couple weeks here. Just real soon, we're going to be there. And we're going to be doing so many great remotes this coming season. We invite you to come with us and have a great time. But if you are around in the Northeast area, northeasthooters.com. If you don't want to go into any one of the locations, go to hooterstogo.com. Also, try some of the great specials. Buy 10 wings, get 10 free, boneless. Wing Wednesdays, a 40-year tradition at Hooters. 40-year tradition that we've been doing this. 1983, that's the year the place was founded. All you can eat. Also, the great specials we have, happy hour. And on top of that, okay, $6, 6 items. Try the fried pickles. northeasthooters.com. And when you go into any one of the Hooters, do me a favor, tell them Big Sil sent you.